So our project's idea was to essentially allow a user to input a professional hockey player's name, any goalie, retired player, or currently in the NHL, have it read back to them the player statistics, and then call for the player's birth city and view the yearly average temperatures of that city by month. Um, the goal here is determining if the players were born in relatively warmer or colder cities, and using this information, we can make conclusions about what climates hockey players usually come from, as it's usually assumed that they come from Minnesota or Boston. We can use statistical evidence to make these determinations.
The only input is entering the NHL player's name. Using the name, we extract the player ID number in order to retrieve the player's birth city. We then retrieve the average maximum monthly weather of the city, and then compare it to 3 of the largest cities in the world, lying in 3 different continents. We merge all the data together and then calculated the average residual of each city and the birth city and added it to the data frame so the user is able to compare the weather very easily. Lastly, in order to see how well the player has been performing, we print out 4 important stats of the player in the 2018 and 2019 season relating to his position and compare it to the average NHL player in that position. We place all the information into a bar graph so it is easily comparable. All this information will help the user see if there may be a relationship between NHL players and the weather in which they were born.
Our code is very simple and user-friendly, and you only have to do one input in order to get your data. For this example, we're going to use Connor McDavid, a very well-known NHL player. You just have to spell his name correctly. Uppercase doesn't matter because we do have a possible error retention for that. The first thing you're going to see after typing in the player of your choice's name is a bar graph that compares the player with the average in the league. It is color-coded for viewing standards, and it makes it very easy for the consumer to read whether or not their player is above average. Below, as you see to the right, is a printed exact stats of the player. Next, you will see a data frame which compares the monthly maximum temperatures of the player's hometown, New York City, London, and Hong Kong. We chose these cities because they offer a variety of temperatures, and it helps the consumer decide whether or not the player comes from a warmer or cool climate, and if that has an effect on the player with hockey. There's also residual values to show the varying degrees in climate. This will help the user determine for themselves whether or not they think the player comes from a cooler climate. We hope that our code helps you when researching and looking at statistics for hockey players. Thanks for watching!